He's the embodiment of power and chaos, a hero who's both feared and admired, the Hulk. From a brilliant scientist struggling to control the beast within to a mighty Avenger, Bruce Banner's journey is one of discovery, sacrifice, and acceptance. The question that haunted him, could the monster inside ever be tamed, or was he destined to live in its shadow?
I'm always angry.
Bruce once said, embracing the power that once consumed him. From fleeing the military to fighting side by side with Earth's mightiest heroes, this is the story of how the Hulk went from a weapon of destruction to one of the world's most unlikely heroes. The monster within. Dr. Bruce Banner was no ordinary scientist. A brilliant mind in the fields of biochemistry and nuclear physics, he was tasked with an impossible mission: recreate the super soldier serum that had given rise to Captain America decades ago. Driven by both professional ambition and the hope of advancing humanity, Banner took a calculated risk, replacing the original formula's Vita rays with gamma radiation. But science, no matter how well calculated, has its limits, and this experiment spiraled into disaster. During the test, Bruce absorbed a lethal dose of gamma radiation. Miraculously, he survived, but the exposure unlocked something primal within him. Whenever his emotions ran high, especially anger, he would transform into the Hulk, a towering, green-skinned juggernaut of destruction. The Hulk's strength was limitless, but so was his volatility. This was no simple mutation. It was a dual existence, where Bruce Banner's brilliance was overshadowed by the chaos and power of the Hulk. Bruce's life was irrevocably changed. The incident forced him into isolation, constantly on the run from the military, who saw the Hulk as both a weapon and a threat. Leading the charge was General Thaddeus "Thunderbolt" Ross, who had once trusted Bruce, but now saw him as a menace to be captured or destroyed. Bruce couldn't stay in one place for long. Each transformation left cities shaken, lives disrupted, and his conscience heavier. But the torment went deeper than external forces. Internally, Bruce faced an unrelenting battle with his own psyche. The Hulk wasn't just an uncontrollable side effect. He was the embodiment of Bruce's suppressed rage, fear, and unresolved trauma. Every time Bruce transformed, he lost more of himself. Unsure whether the Hulk was a separate entity or simply the truest reflection of his inner self. Despite the destruction left in his wake, Bruce began to glimpse the duality of his curse. The Hulk was chaos, yes, but he was also a force of nature capable of protecting the vulnerable and standing against overwhelming threats. Somewhere deep within the monster, Bruce sensed there was something more, an untapped potential that could one day be a force for good. But for now, the question remained: could Bruce Banner ever learn to control the beast within, or was he destined to be forever consumed by it? Hunted and haunted. Life on the run became Bruce Banner's new reality, a nomadic existence that left him drifting through remote towns, hidden laboratories, and even war-torn regions of the world. For Bruce, survival wasn't just about staying ahead of the military. It was about protecting others from the Hulk's destructive potential. Each step forward felt like a ticking time bomb, with the threat of an emotional outburst always looming. General Thaddeus Ross, fueled by both professional duty and a personal vendetta, relentlessly pursued Bruce. To Ross, the Hulk wasn't just a threat to national security, he was an affront to everything the general stood for. Employing elite forces and cutting-edge technology, Ross's campaign against the Hulk became a cat-and-mouse game across continents. With every skirmish, Bruce was forced to tap into the Hulk's strength to escape, leaving behind destruction that only furthered his reputation as a menace. But Bruce wasn't only running from Ross, he was also running from himself. His transformations into the Hulk were unpredictable and often catastrophic, leaving him racked with guilt and regret. The memory of his accidental rampages haunted him, particularly the innocent lives caught in the crossfire. Bruce's brilliance allowed him to analyze gamma radiation and explore ways to suppress the Hulk, but every experiment ended in failure. His genius couldn't outsmart the monster within. Despite the darkness, there were glimmers of hope. Bruce's search for answers led him to unlikely allies, including a network of scientists, rebels, and even mystics who recognized the Hulk's potential as a protector rather than a destroyer. In the slums of Calcutta, he worked as a medical volunteer, finding peace in helping others. But even these quiet moments were fleeting. One slip, a sudden flash of anger or fear, could unleash the Hulk, destroying the fragile stability Bruce had worked so hard to build. Bruce also began to uncover the Hulk's mysterious resilience. The transformations weren't just physical, they seemed to tap into an inexhaustible well of energy and strength, tied directly to Bruce's emotions. No weapon could pierce the Hulk's skin, no force could match his raw power. Yet, this indestructibility came at a price. Each transformation took a toll on Bruce's body and mind, further blurring the line between man and monster. As Bruce evaded capture and sought understanding, he grappled with the ultimate question: was the Hulk truly a curse, or could he be a misunderstood gift? Each step of his journey brought him closer to the answer, but it also brought him closer to the day when he would no longer be able to run. The unlikely hero. Despite his efforts to avoid conflict, Bruce Banner found himself drawn into situations where the Hulk's incredible power was needed. From quelling natural disasters to stopping catastrophic accidents, the Hulk's brute strength became an unlikely source of salvation. Yet every act of heroism came with consequences, as the destruction left in his wake often overshadowed his intentions. To the world, the Hulk was both savior and destroyer, a paradox that Bruce struggled to reconcile. One of the first major turning points came during a confrontation with Emil Blonsky, a soldier who willingly exposed himself to a similar gamma transformation in a desperate bid to match the Hulk's power. Blonsky's transformation into the monstrous abomination was a grim reflection of what could happen when unchecked ambition met unrestrained strength. The two titans clashed in a brutal battle that leveled parts of Harlem, with the Hulk ultimately prevailing. For Bruce, it was a bittersweet victory. While he stopped a greater threat, the destruction reaffirmed his fears about the Hulk's destructive potential. This battle marked a shift in how Bruce began to view the Hulk. As much as he feared the monster, he also realized that the Hulk could be a force for good when channeled properly. Slowly, Bruce started to accept the duality of his existence. He wasn't just a man trying to suppress a curse, he was a man learning to wield it. Bruce's journey took a significant turn when he was approached by Nick Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D. Fury saw in the Hulk not just chaos, but potential, a weapon to defend Earth against larger threats. Though reluctant, Bruce agreed to join the Avengers initiative, a decision that would thrust him into a world of heroes, gods, and geniuses. As part of the Avengers, the Hulk found a new purpose. He fought alongside Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America against enemies that no single hero could face alone. The Battle of New York against Loki and the Chitauri invasion was a defining moment. While Bruce's scientific mind was invaluable, it was the Hulk who turned the tide of the battle. His iconic leap through the city to smash the alien invaders became a symbol of raw, unyielding power. In these moments, Bruce began to see that the Hulk wasn't just a force of destruction. Underneath the rage, there was a protector, a creature who could fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves. Yet, even as Bruce embraced this new role, he knew the Hulk's unpredictability was a double-edged sword. For every life he saved, there was always the risk of losing control and endangering the very people he sought to protect. The world might never fully understand the Hulk, but for Bruce, the journey of acceptance had begun. He wasn't just running anymore, he was starting to fight, not just against the world, but for it. The inner battle. As Bruce Banner integrated further with the Avengers, he found himself not just fighting external threats, but also wrestling with the complexities of his dual nature. The Hulk had proven to be an asset in battles against global threats, yet the tension between man and monster remained a constant struggle. While his teammates saw his value, Bruce's greatest fear lingered, losing complete control and endangering those he cared about. The conflict reached a critical point during the events of Sokovia. The team, now facing the artificial intelligence Ultron, was on the verge of global disaster. In the midst of the battle, the Scarlet Witch manipulated Bruce's mind, unleashing the Hulk in a fit of uncontrolled rage. The devastation that followed wasn't just physical. It shattered Bruce's fragile confidence. His teammates fought to contain the chaos, and Tony Stark, in his Hulkbuster armor, barely managed to subdue him. The sight of innocent lives caught in the crossfire reaffirmed Bruce's belief that the Hulk was as much a danger as a savior. After Sokovia, Bruce chose to leave, believing the world and the Avengers were better off without him. His journey took him far from Earth, to the distant planet Sakaar. Here, the Hulk found himself in a completely different world, both literally and figuratively. On Sakaar, the Hulk was revered not as a monster, but as a gladiator and champion in the Grandmaster's arena. The Hulk thrived in this environment where his strength was celebrated rather than feared. This separation marked the first time Bruce and the Hulk existed independently, in a sense. On Sakaar, the Hulk stayed in control for an extended period, fully embracing his identity. For Bruce, this was both liberating and terrifying. He realized that the Hulk wasn't just a mindless beast. He had his own thoughts, emotions, and desires. When Thor arrived on Sakaar, seeking Hulk's help to save Asgard from Hela, the two sides of Bruce's existence began to collide again. Convincing the Hulk to leave his newfound glory and fight for a cause greater than himself was no small feat. But Thor's persistence ultimately brought Bruce back into the fold. The journey back to Asgard forced Bruce to confront a deeper truth. The Hulk wasn't just a curse. He was part of who Bruce was. They weren't enemies. They were two halves of the same whole. As Bruce fought alongside Thor and Valkyrie to save Asgard, he began to accept that the Hulk was more than rage. He was a protector, capable of incredible good when guided with purpose. The destruction of Asgard wasn't the end, but a new beginning for Bruce Banner and the Hulk, a chance to redefine what it meant to be a hero. Strength in unity. Bruce Banner's journey reached its most profound turning point during the war against Thanos, a conflict that tested every fiber of his being and the Hulk's. When Thanos overpowered the Hulk during their first confrontation, something unprecedented happened. The Hulk refused to reappear. For Bruce, this was a nightmare realized. The one constant in his life, the Hulk's indomitable strength, was now gone. Without the Hulk, Bruce had to confront the looming threat of the Mad Titan as just a man. Yet this struggle forced him to dig deeper into his own strengths. He poured his genius into the Avengers' efforts, building devices and strategies to fight back. But the absence of the Hulk weighed heavily, leaving Bruce questioning whether he could ever reconcile with this other side of himself. After the devastating snap, which wiped out half of all life in the universe, Bruce took a different approach to his internal conflict. Rather than trying to suppress or dominate the Hulk, he sought harmony. Retreating to a secluded laboratory, Bruce spent years working on a solution that could unite his intellect with the Hulk's raw power. The result was a transformation unlike any before. A new version of himself, often referred to as Smart Hulk. Smart Hulk was the embodiment of balance. For the first time, Bruce and the Hulk coexisted, blending the Hulk's physical might with Bruce's brilliant mind. This fusion wasn't just a scientific breakthrough, it was a personal triumph, symbolizing years of struggle and self-discovery. Bruce had finally embraced both sides of himself, no longer viewing the Hulk as a curse, but as an integral part of who he was. When the Avengers assembled to undo Thanos' snap, Bruce's transformation proved critical. As Smart Hulk, he wielded the Infinity Stones to bring back everyone lost in the blip. The act nearly cost him his life, with the immense power of the stones leaving his arm permanently damaged. Yet, for Bruce, the pain was a small price to pay for saving the universe. In the final battle against Thanos, Smart Hulk fought alongside Earth's mightiest heroes, proving that strength isn't just about brute force. It's about resolve, intelligence, and the willingness to sacrifice for others. The Hulk, once feared as a monster, became a symbol of hope and resilience. As peace returned to the world, Bruce began a new chapter in his life. No longer a fugitive, he focused on using his unique abilities to help rebuild the world. While his journey of self-discovery might never truly end, Bruce Banner had found a sense of unity within himself, and with it, a renewed purpose. The journey of Bruce Banner and the Hulk is far from over. From his struggle to control the beast within to embracing his dual identity, he's proven that even the most monstrous forces can be molded into something heroic. As we watch the Hulk continue to evolve, one thing is clear. Sometimes the greatest strength lies in accepting who we are, flaws and all. Stay tuned for more insights from Star Life.